Morning, everybody. In an effort to keep the show exciting, and welcome to the latest episode of Derek Invest. I'm your host, Derek Miller, and in an effort to keep everything exciting for you, I'm always trying to look for topics that I think are really relevant. Short interest in the Nasdaq and the S&P is at financial crisis level lows, meaning that the optimism in the market is tremendous. Okay. When short interest is low, it offers two things. First, without short interest, markets tend to glide in an upward direction. Short interest, by the way, folks, if for some of you that don't know, is simply people believing that the market's going to fall. So they go short. They're looking for the market to fall. What that tells you is that there is some pessimism that exists, and that pessimism will push prices down from time to time. But there's something even more important with short interest that isn't just about pessimism and prices dropping. Oftentimes, the strongest buying in a bull market is, in fact, short covering. Short covering is nothing more than the opposite of selling a stock. So when you go short, you're betting on a stock to go down. When you cover that position, you're eliminating that position, and that creates false buying because, in fact, it is buying, and that helps markets keep moving up. Okay, so I saw that this morning. I saw the short interest on the S&P and the Nasdaq was at financial crisis level lows. That in itself isn't. I mean, it's something to take notice of, most certainly, because that means that everybody's on board. The market's doing great. Nobody wants to miss a thing. That is always a terrible sign for the stock market as far as the ease of which things have been going along. And our bear markets are getting closer and closer. We had kind of like a flash crash in 2020. And then December of 21, the market fell, at least the NASDAQ fell about 35%, the S&P a little over 20 over the next, through October of 22, right? So the next year, basically. And then we've been on a nice smooth run since then. So I saw that indicator and I thought, something you want to look at whenever you see short interest at these levels. Apologize, I had that a little too close. Something you want to look at when you see short interest at these levels is simple. You want to start looking at what are the insiders doing? So the people that are running these companies, what are they doing? Because that's really, really important. They are the ones more in the know than the average person. Okay. Now, I have been telling you that I believe that AI is not nearly as powerful as they're telling us it is, and that it is not ready to take over anything. It doesn't show so far that we're in any sort of 99 internet bubble, but Tesla was not in a bubble in 2021 either, yet it fell 75%. Optimism gets high sometimes and way too high, and people they get overexcited. Okay. And when people get overexcited, what do? They buy. And when people buy, they send prices higher when they shouldn't in fact be going higher. You'll hear me clicking here. It's not for nothing, I assure you. I'm getting there. And so what I wanted to see was, well, what do the CEOs of these big companies think? How much of these big companies, as far as insider selling goes, is there, right? So is there a lot of insider selling? Now, why do we care if there's a lot of insider selling? Well, it can mean a couple things. Insider selling. Everybody will always um, everybody will always write insider selling off as they're bailing, right? They know something we don't know, But there is a trend that I have personally seen going on lately that makes no sense to me, and I'll tell you what it is right now. The trend that I've seen going on that makes no sense to me, AI, is the fact that if you just attach your name to AI, your stock is skyrocketing. That doesn't make any sense. Simply because you've now said we're involved in AI, you're back. I'll give you a good example of that. It's Meta, right? All we heard about from Meta was that the new metaverse, right? That was going to be their big deal. That was what Zuckerberg was kind of leaning the company towards, and he was investing all this money into Meta. Well, that has obviously gone nowhere. Now, all of a sudden, he announces that he's going into AI, and the stock market the stock just skyrockets along with the stock market in AI. And that makes no sense, everybody. You shouldn't just say, hey, we're going into AI, and then it takes off. Now, why has that happened? Well, I'll tell you why. For the same reason that it's happening right now with Tesla. Oh, well, I'm opening an AI company. I can tell you right now, from a personal standpoint, I have seen the power of AI in Airbnb, and it's a disaster, an absolute disaster. I wouldn't want for the life of me, and I'm not kidding you, I wouldn't want for the life of me to have my customer service run by AI. It is terrible. It cannot understand what's going on. I'm telling you, it can't understand what's going on. It has taken almost 4,000 of my family and I's dollars after putting us through hell for 2 weeks. I'll never, ever use Airbnb again. That company will be in big trouble because it is going to continue to allow the mistakes. And they don't view it as a mistake. It's AI. That's not, no. I'm not going to get into the specifics of what happened, but I'll just give you a brief overview. Bottom line was they messed up our booking. They then needed to give us our money back. They couldn't give us our money back for 2 weeks, but that's not fair because they messed up our booking. So we needed a place to go. So they sent us this coupon, and this coupon was in the amount of our money plus a little bit more for hassle, right? They applied it. We're going on a 6-month stay. They applied it to the end of our stay instead of the beginning of our stay. So I still had to come up with the money. So I basically, to move into a place with Airbnb, and this is just the first month's rent, mind you, instead of coming up with what I agreed to, which was about $3,000, I had to come up with $6,000. And then they said they'll give me my money back in 6 months. And this AI that is working for Airbnb can't see the problem with that. It still doesn't see the problem with that. We had to take a break this week. We've been fighting them for 6 weeks. We had to take a break this week because of it. I don't believe AI is where they say it is. Now, so back to what I'm going to cover in this week's episode. And I know I'm 7 minutes in, but we're going to cover all the stocks listed below. And here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you what these companies are, what they do, how much insider selling has taken place, and then the number one insider seller. So let's start with the first one. And the reason we're going to do this is we're then going to jump onto the charts and we're going to do some rapid evaluation of, okay, all this insider selling is taking place. There's no short interest that can really hinder a bull market, everybody. Not that we're looking for a bear market, but we keep our eyes out. We're always paying attention, right? We're always paying attention to the factors that can affect us. The corporate buyback program ended a week ago on June 14th. So we lost $5.5 billion in corporate buybacks. That is buying, everybody. Short interest is effectively non-existent. So we're not going to have the effects of short covering, which pop stocks. Now we have large insider selling to boot. This is not good, especially if it's the CEO who's doing a lot of the selling, because he has the greatest insight into what he thinks the future of his price is. And he can be taking profits just like everybody else. I'm not knocking these people for doing what they're doing. He is allowed to take profits. Most of his income, most of the money he makes comes from running that company. And so therefore, to make the money, he has to sell the stock. And sometimes he has to sell them regardless because he's on an options program. Options expire. So he has to sell them. So you'll have to take all this with a grain of salt, but it's important to note that the corporate buyback program has ended, which that is in fact false buying, false demand, along with false buying. That's 5.5 billion in flows per day, according to Goldman Sachs. Short interest is an all-time low at levels seen only before the fall of the financial crisis in 2008. And now corporate buybacks are extremely high. Let's get started. So we have Altair Engineering. The biggest seller is, in fact, the CEO, Ralph Scappa. He has sold about $56 million in stock. They are a software and cloud-based simulation, high performance, and AI computing. Their CEO sold $56 million in 2024, and they're attached to AI. Okay, this is part of the AI story that I have been telling. I don't believe it's at where we're told it's at. I do not. I think it's amazing. I love ChatGPT. Google is a complete waste of time. I love it for research. I love it to find things. There's certain things that AI I love. They are not ready to take over the world. I'm not letting it drive my car. I don't want to get McDonald's food from them. They can't even handle basic customer service. A person would have solved the issue I described to you at Airbnb inside of 5 minutes. AI, I'm on 6 weeks. I think they're going to try to steal my money. I'm just being honest. And that's my experience. Okay. Neurocrine Biosciences. I'm giving you the top 12 stocks with insider trading this year, and let's see what they do. Neurocrine Biosciences, biggest insider seller, Kevin Charles Gorman. He's the CEO. About $62 million that he sold, which that's wow. Neurocrine Biosciences. We're going to look at that stock as well. Develops markets for pharmaceuticals, neurological, neuroendocrine, and neuropsychiatric disorders. We might be coming to the end of the Adderall stage here. I don't even know if they're connected to Adderall. I'm making that up. But obviously, something's going on. Then we have Sprouts Farmers Markets. I think I know what's going on there. So what was their biggest insider seller at Sprouts? Jack Sinclair, the CEO, about 14 million. That's big. That's big insider for Sprouts. They're focused on fresh and organic foods. Why? Well, competition has gone through the roof in fresh and organic foods, and you also have guys like Bill Gates coming out with Appeal, and these companies can't keep this crap off their labels. And if it's not organic food, and right now Sprouts does sell whatever that Appeal label is, and there's a ton of controversy about it, I wouldn't want it on my food. I don't put that kind of crap in my body. And if it's not organic, I can't imagine why you'd be going to Sprouts any longer. So maybe that's why. We're going to look at the stock. Then we have Dell Technologies. It's Michael Dell, and it's like it's a big amount. It's almost $1 billion. Yeah, 900 million in 2024. Again, he attached himself to AI. All of a sudden, it took off. Is Dell and AI really that simpatico? I don't know. But Michael Dell, that's number 4. Number 5, Adobe. We already know what that is. Shanatu Narayan, amount sold not specified. It's a ton. C3.ai, obviously it's AI related. Thomas C. Seibel, he's the CEO. He didn't tell specifically how much. Most of these are not specific at this point, but they're just the insider selling is extremely high. So then you have CrowdStrike, that's AI driven. Then you have Moderna. Moderna can't be sued for the junk that it injected in a lot of people because it completely gets away with its right. But once people start to realize or just start to accept the fact that it caused more harm than good, and it did, Moderna's in trouble. I don't even know how they survive it, right? Pfizer as well. I don't even know how they survive it. For those of you that got the jab, they got that, and you believed in it, great. I hope you continue to believe in it, but there are tons of diseases coming out with young people that have never existed before. I mean, myocarditis is up thousands and thousands of percent in age groups that it never existed. And it all follows one event. Now, I'm not going to get into all of that. That is up for you. That's for you to decide. I look at stocks. I look at markets. I can tell you right now, people are starting to realize what was in that crap. It wasn't good. And it certainly wasn't a vaccine that we'd ever seen throughout history. There was definitely lying there. mRNA is not a vaccine in the way you're used to it. When you get your measles and mumps vaccine, there's a little bit of measles and mumps in the vaccine, and that's what protects you for getting measles and mumps or whatever you're getting. There's a little bit in there. mRNA does not work that way. It just doesn't. And so even using the term vaccine was a lie. So that it had me right away with that. But they're going to be in trouble. That is why they are inside. That's why the insider selling is so high. It's the CEO. All these are CEO guys. Palantir, that's attached to AI. Pinterest, that's interesting. We know what Pinterest is. Roku, Anthony Wood, they try to attach themselves to AI too. Tesla, he's going to have the self-driving cabs, and he started an AI company. And it's really because Tesla has been hammered so badly, I think. But that's for you to decide. Look, I am just sharing with you the companies that have the highest levels of insider selling. So let's go take a look at them. All right. So first, let me share my screen with you. We'll go to Altair first. Coming over. I'm going to start. I have not heard from. Let's come on over. I've not heard from TradingView at all. So I'm going to start reaching out to some other charting software companies and seeing if they'd be interested in sponsoring a show that uses their software on a daily basis. If you work for TradingView, I'd love it for it to be you. If not, please reach out. I have had one company reach out to me this week, which is exciting for me because I don't, I love doing this, but this isn't just for joy, everybody. Okay, Altier, what's it look like, everyone? Let's go into a weekly. Monthly's not enough data. Oh, mama. Look at that. What do you think that is? And that is not me being facetious, guys. This right here is something that I can show you that existed back in 2007 and 2008 that everybody ignored. Does it mean it drops tomorrow? No. The first time I saw something like this was in late 07. Prices dropped in the S&P, and that was on the index of the S&P, by the way, not a company. Prices dropped through August of 2022, about 20% before you had that crash in September of 08, 22, August of 08. And prices did not, that crash didn't occur till September, but we were down 22% from late 07 into August 08 before that occurred, and it looked exactly like this. I assure you, you ignore volume like that, you ignore trading activity like that, you are a fool. Let's zoom in. Okay, very, very bad. Continue to zoom in. It's bad. I don't care what that is. That's bad. Oh, goodness gracious. Let's just keep coming down. I mean, folks, this is at the high price. This level of you got to get out of it. Run for cover. Yeah, this is terrible. Got to get out of here. Where's it going? Let's pick a target. Oh, God. I mean, at that volume, I kid you not. Oh, goodness. Let's zoom in on this volume. That's on a daily. Let's zoom in on that last day. This is a catastrophe. How is that possible? My goodness. Okay. You have to sell this. The initial target will be here. It should blow through that really easily. Your next target's here. I mean, ultimately, this thing's hammered. Ultimately, here. I mean, my goodness. We will set this. Let's make this just a touch smaller. Let's set this for target 628 for you don't understand. This can hold off and it can happen really, really fast. It is all dependent upon who tries to hold this up. This trading activity is not, oh my God. This is a monster. Okay. I mean, that can be the stock collapsing. They can be. That could be the end of this company. When you see things like that, it was just it's very similar. ALTR. That's yeah. Put that there. Why do I say you don't know those targets? Because it depends how quick it picks up speed. I could do, I kid you not, when I could do an entire show on what I'm looking at right here. This is wild. Wow. No one's talking about it. All right, that's our first one with insider selling. And that is unbelievable. That's unbelievable. That volume is that of '07 and '08. There's no exaggeration to that. That is exactly what it looked like. Let's go to the next company. NBIX, Neurocrine Biosciences. Now, the interesting thing about the biotech industry is that it has received more startup funding in 2024 than any other industry. Let's take a look. As you see, there's nothing here that looks like that Altair. I mean, you rarely see a position like that. Rarely, rarely, rarely. Now, as you look at this, does it look like selling? I mean, right now, there is definitely some high volume here at the highs. Is it anything to jump at? No, not exactly. That Altair, I was talking yesterday about. You look for positions that uh, you have a lot of confidence in. Oh my gosh, you could stake your life on that one. Those are the positions you look for. It's filling gaps on the downside. There's nothing here worth looking at. And in fact, with all of the startup activity in the biotech area, you don't really want to fight. Look, one thing you don't fight in this world, folks, aside from a bull market, which I always say that, don't fight bulls. That's a ridiculous notion. But the other thing you don't fight is money. And there is a ton of money pouring into the biotech industry. Let's look at Sprouts Farmers Markets. Where are we at? Weekly. Let's go. Okay, see this volume right here at what is this? The high price of 74, low price of 64. You now sit at 77. See that volume bar right there? When you look back, these volume bars led you from 40 to 70. They're about the same size. See them? So that is definitely something you want to pay attention to. Let's zoom in a little bit. Four hours. What do we got? This is a gap up. It's filling. That's good. There's a gap here that needs filled. There's a gap here that needs filled. This is high volume. You don't have high volume at the high, though, which would indicate a lot of selling. Yeah, there's nothing here. There's, again, nothing here to write home about. Nothing here that you're going to say this is going to happen, that's going to happen. It's going to happen relatively quickly. I can give directions on this stuff over the long term. For those of you that are just looking to miss bear markets and average 20% a year, I mean, every one of these charts tells you something. But right now, I told you I'll have a little bit more of a focus on the short term. It seems like people are really, really interested in that at the moment. I would say this is probably your price level on Sprouts Farmers Markets right now, which is like 75.50. It looks like you have a good bit of selling here. It looks like you have a good bit of selling here. Reasonable selling there, nothing crazy. That's probably your reality, but I'm not even going to post that. I'm going to stop posting things unless I see something that I really, really believe is a problem or is exciting. Either way. I don't swing at every stock, and I'm putting up stocks mainly because I want people to tune in and watch what I'm doing because I'm very good at what I'm doing. You see this? So this volume down here at 80, you're now sitting at 1. It basically was up here at 160. See that volume there? Now look at this volume. That's at the highs, everybody. This is a weekly chart. Let's zoom into the Dell daily chart. Highs. This is all at the highs. Gap filled. This is coming down to at least 90. What are we going to do over the next week? Well, let me zoom in. I'll tell you. But we're coming down to $90 on Dell. This is just about filled. It could pop back up here first, by the way. I doubt it, though. That's very doubtful that will happen. It is possible, though. It's absolutely possible. 1 hour. Yeah, see, this is where you start to get hazy. And this is why short-term, guys, is so difficult. This is a ton of selling, right? Every chart's a new chart. This is a ton of selling, but it's also a significant amount of buying. It took you from 128 to 148. But at 148, you have a bunch of selling. And what people want to know nowadays, they don't care what's going to happen in the next, 6 months, which for this particular company is going to be a $90 mark. They want to know what's going to happen now. It's going to happen in the next week. All right, so we popped up here. This is a lot of selling. This is a little bit of buying, but it popped it, right? It popped it. A lot of selling, little buying. So in the next week, you're at 134. I would say give it it's summertime. You got to say 2 weeks, I think. Wait. Yeah. It's summer, man. Summer, there's such a lack of volume in summer that you can, and ordinarily, if this were fall, we would absolutely be at 135 in a week. But we're going to go 135. We're going to go Dell. 135. We're going to say 628. What's 2 weeks? Because we got July 4th coming up. I mean, it gets so slow. Everything moves at a glacial pace in the summer. And you have to recognize that fact. Seasonality matters. So you're going to say by the 5th? Yeah, I guess so. Why not? There we go. Yeah, but ultimately, and I'm going to go back and show that too. Ultimately, if you owned this stock, you would get out of it because your risk reward is awful here. I'm actually going to zoom out. I'm going to give a longer term opinion because $90 is certainly where this thing's going. I mean, let me tell you something. It could happen fast too. It's summertime, but the world has changed. Futures and options are up. The use of futures and options is up thousands of percent in the last decade. That can absolutely speed things up. You have AI doing a ton of trading. That can slow things down and kind of moderate up moves, but it's going to create big, fast down moves because right now AI appears to be nothing more than trend following software. It piles on to the stuff that's making moves, and it piles on heavy. With that, it's going to create smooth up moves, but it should create some pretty powerful down moves. Pretty powerful. Michael Dell just sold off almost $1 billion in Dell this year. We have short interest at lows of the financial crisis of 2008, which can create artificial buying when shorts cover. Let's say target date. Run a daily chart, guys. Got to go out 6 months. So you'll just say what? You got to say December of this year. It shouldn't take that long, but it could. Most definitely could. So you have a lack of short interest, which means there's a lack of covering that's going to occur. You also have the corporate buyback program that ended a week ago, which offered 5.5 billion in flows. These are not fantastic signs, and you just have to acknowledge them. And right now, every hedging strategy is cheap. Whether you're looking at options, futures, I don't know how you hedge. Whether you short, you can buy inverse ETFs, which there's literally nobody is buying inverse ETFs right now. Another telltale sign, by the way. Okay, so let's go back. What is our next company, everybody? Dell. We'll look at Adobe. I'm going to pick up the speed here a little bit. I don't want you guys getting bored, but I want to show you what I'm looking at because whoo. So far, Dell and Altair are just, oh my goodness. Okay, let's take a look. So a lot of guys, oh, look, there's a double top in Adobe. It matters, but more importantly, you want to look at trading activity. There's not a ton of trading activity here, but Adobe just flew, right? I mean, here you are in what, 2019, you're sitting at 250. It's at 680, 690. I mean, give me a break. If you're not selling that, you're out of your mind. But again, this speaks to this computer-based trading. I know everybody's telling you that it's going to be the greatest thing. I'm just telling you what I see, and what I see is trend following software. And trend following software is going to bite you. All right, so the next 6 months, you're looking at 460 on Adobe. We definitely have the volume to pull that off. There's definitely selling in the background. Let's zoom in. Okay, here you go. This should be buying, right? But if this were buying right here, guess what would have happened to price? Not buying. Okay. Up here at the high price, you have buying. We're on a 1 hour. Let's see if this holds up through the 30-minute. Immense selling there. Good out of the 15-minute. Oh, man. And then you have a complete lack of demand up here at the high. I have not logged into TradingView. But, hey, you guys get a great commercial every time I do this. So on your 5-minute chart, what's going to happen? Obviously, it's selling. What's your first target? My goodness. In the next week, what's your next target? You should have a little sticky here. You should get stuck right there. This should be your next weekly target. So you're looking at Adobe, probably let's say 523 ADBE. And what I'm doing right now, by the way, folks, is something I tell you never to do, because you don't want to fight bull markets. It's not a genius idea, but the fact of the matter is this stuff looks weak. I'm going to go ahead and say 6/28, 2024. But you are fighting the market, which leaves you at high levels of risk, right? And you have to know that. Oh, let's put target date here. I actually want to write that so people know target date. And then we're doing this on up here. Let's do it up there. I'll do a separate one. What is it? 6/22, 2024. There we go. Put you right here. Stack it up all pretty. Target date. There we go. Let's save that. And then I'm going to give you a longer term date here, because this has a bigger fall coming than that. This definitely has a bigger fall coming. So I'm gonna get you out a little further here, so that someone goes, oh, he said it was only going to go to 523, and here we sit way down at. I'm going to fill in the blank in 1 second. Yeah, this thing should be at 4. You should be at 4 call 470. 2 months. So we'll say Adobe ADBE. Okay. ADBE. We'll say 470. 70. We'll say, well, today let's put our date 6/22/2024. Then we have a target date. Target date of for 6/22. We'll just say February 1st. It should be there before that, but let's just run with that for now. There you go. It's Adobe. Let me see where we're at on time, folks. See how quickly I need to pick it up. I want to get through all 12 of these because I have found two that that definitely speak to what I have been telling you. So let's go ahead and take a look. Let's where are we at on time? Yeah, we're at 36 minutes. I'm going to pick up the pace just a little bit here. I love to kind of explain what I'm doing. But the fact is, I'll never get through it all at this speed. The real reason I want to explain what I'm doing is because I'm here to teach you. I want you to learn this stuff. I don't want you just to follow. So let's go ahead and look at C3 AI, which had massive insider trading. Again, corporate buyback programs dried up, which was 5.5 billion in buy volume. That dried up about a week ago. Short interest at the lowest levels since the financial crisis, which means we're not going to have any short covering, folks. Short covering is false demand. And oftentimes that's a much bigger driver of the stock market than people actually purchasing. Is there anything here worth looking at? No, I'm not even going to comment on this. Yeah, it just, who cares? There's nothing there that you're going to get excited or scared of. Crowd, we're gonna look for a couple here that might have something that you care about, something you really want to get out of the way of, or you really want to be involved in. Let's take a look. Crowd, what do we got? Oh, mama, massive volume at a high price. Volume as big as volume that took this stock 10 to 380, almost 400 inside of what? We're not quite at 2 years here, about 18 months. But that is the low. So let's be honest and let's be fair about this. But this looks like it's something you want to bail from, everybody. Massive inside selling as well. Let's take a look at this. This is buy volume. Or supposed buy volume. That's a daily chart. That's actually a really, really, really nice day. I can't lie to you. See how when you zoom in, your focus changes. But you have to keep zooming in because I looked at one day. Let's look at where the volume was in that one day, right? Because that's what you want to know. Okay, on a 4-hour chart, you get a couple big 4-hour bars there. You got a monster here. What did these do? 1, 2. That's definitely selling. That's definitely selling. Let's go into a 1. This is buying. This is buying. How do you know? Well, pop price up. That's how you know. If price goes up, everybody, after a lot of trading activity, that's buying. There's no way to deny that. Price went nowhere after this amount of trading activity. This is a monster here, and price has gone nowhere. What happened there? That looks like buying as well. Let's zoom in a little bit, though. Just remember, all your volume can come in, all your trading activity can come in a 5-minute period, which completely is deceptive of what really went on. Now, what really went on Friday? What really went on was a lot of buying. That's a lot of trading activity, guys. That is a lot. Woo! Woo! I mean, the short term, this thing has to hit 388. I would say by next week. So let's go ahead and put that up. But it's going to have it's ultimately a down move. There's no doubt about it. So let's just call it 387. And we're going to change this all to blue now, right? That's buying, not selling. Now, COD, crowd. And what did we say? We're going to look at, call it 387. That 2024. I'm actually going to give distance on this target. This date 6/28/2024. Let's move this over. Okay. Funny, I never realized how hyper focused people get on the next few days. And I'll tell you why. If you're in the futures and you're using a lot of leverage, yeah, you can make a lot of money. Same with options. But I'll tell you what, if you don't know how to play the turns or how to identify a turn coming, which is real tough to do looking at short-term charts like this, you're never going to make any real money. You're just going to get eaten up. And that's a fact. All right. And then the next level, guys, is probably right there. So we're going to call it 355.50. And now we get to change the color back, don't we? So yep, let's change it back to red, because that is not going to be good. I promise you. And that's the funny thing about charting, or it's not even charting, guys. This is literally just the language that the market's written in. Like, it's funny when I say charting or people say technical or whatever. You're looking at cash flow. In what business is looking at the cash flow going in and out of something negative? Hey, it's the silliest thing. You sit there and talk about fundamentals all day, and I'm not telling you not to pay attention to fundamentals. Everybody knows how I utilize fundamentals. I love them. I'm telling you about the buyback programs right now. The fact that 5.5 billion in daily volume, which was attributed to buyback programs, according to Goldman Sachs, just ended. I'm telling you that short interest is so low; it's at levels of the financial crisis. I am not someone that does not talk about fundamentals, but okay, let's see. We're on a 30-minute chart. Guys, you're on a 30-minute chart. You got to look out a month. You got to look out a month at least. So we're going to say 7/22/2000. And it's funny because markets falling in the summertime is a bad bet, guys. It's a bad bet. But I have to tell you that I can't. I mean, this can go another way. But the fact of the matter is, if you know what you're doing and you're playing things a long term, and for me personally, half of everything I do is always long term, just due to taxes alone. Half of everything I do is long term. So I'm always looking long term. And then half of what I do is typically short term. And there's a reason for that, because you can make a lot of money using a lot of leverage in short term products. But if you're not conscious of the tax consequence, sometimes, especially in a market that's kind of it's really gone sideways since about March, April. And if you're not aware of that fact and you're playing this, look at that. Moderna, what's their symbol? mRNA. They named the technology after the company's stock symbol, for God's sakes. Daily, anything? I mean, me personally, I shouldn't even look at companies like this, because when you have a feeling about something, or whether negative or positive, you really shouldn't be involved. But there's nothing here worth noting anyway. Well, yeah, there is. This is selling up here. Let's see if it gives you any targets on the downside. I have to be careful, because I am always going to look at this company to the downside. It's just personal bias. So I have to really watch when I evaluate it. Like, see, now this looks like volume. This cluster down here looks like buying in the short term. It does. And like, for me, I have to watch that bias of saying, hey, it's going to fall. because I don't like the business itself. However, I would say this is a toss-up. If somebody made me pick, I would say 138 in 2 weeks, 138 by the 5th of July. But I'm not going to go anywhere with this because I don't think this one really even looks. It just doesn't look. It's nothing worth talking about. Palantir, monthly. Let's go down to the weekly. That's a lot of volume to the buy side, everybody. That pushed you from 1580 to 24.6. Here's that same big gap. Listen, it's not. So just keep. What you're looking for there, guys? You're looking for stuff that's in play. You don't want to just because of insider selling, or it has a lot of insider buying, or it has a monstrous corporate buyback program. This is information that doesn't mean all that much. It's things that if you're not taking note of, you're a fool. But okay, see, it has that same market structure. All the NASDAQ stuff has this market structure, which leads you to believe that there's a swift pullback coming. So I hope that you're hedging. Hedging is really cheap right now. IG, low spreads, fast execution. Learn more. Looks like it's 4x. Pinterest. Let's go to Roku. ROKU. Let's go to a monthly. It's funny that stuff like that exists. That's market sentiment, everybody. This is just people getting overly excited. That's all it is. Now you get down here at the low. See all this right here on a weekly chart? If someone asked me, I would tell you that was buying. Because when you look at a chart like this with this monster behind it, you can't tell that this is 100% fluctuations. It looks very small. Watch what happens when we zoom in. Because if you're looking there, you're saying, oh, they're buying down here at these levels. These levels are small. But look at this. This is on a daily chart. You've gone from 48 to 110. That's a 300% moves. That's why it's so important to scale out, to come out, and then look back. And just like here, if you saw this volume here, you would say, hey, this is after a market drop. This must be buying. But there's no way it's buying if price went from 75 to 50. There's no way. It's selling. It's further selling. People got caught off guard. They got caught with their pants down, and they had to hit the sell trigger late. Now, what does all this look like? Anything? You got big selling in the background somewhere, like up here on the 30-minute charts. Every chart, what's it look like now? I would say this looks like buying now. Into a 15-minute chart. We are starting to get into those areas that people are interested in. But look at all this buying. This is a lot of buying down here at 52. You're sitting at 54. That's a % run from 30. Company doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. Once you see some monstrous trading activity, that is our final company that had tons of insider selling. For all you Tesla lovers telling me how it was going to change the world, that's why you were buying it at 400. How's it feel down here at 183? How'd it feel down here at 100? That's not why you buy stocks. Okay, this is a lot of buying down here that pumped you way up, obviously, right? Then it brought it way down. We're going to have to zoom in a little bit more. Is there anything down here you're excited about? No, the one thing I see on the daily charts right here, and not only does it not excite me, it scares me. That's a lot of volume, the highest volume bar on this daily chart. And it is at a high price of 198. Price has done nothing but fall since there. E-Trade, 0% commissions, 0 compromises. Other fees do apply. I like doing that. Hopefully I'm doing that a lot more soon enough. Okay, so this is an interesting bar. So is this. Is there anything here in Tesla that you should be aware of? No. No, we're not interested in Tesla at the moment. It's just not interesting. All right, everybody. So let's stop that share. That right there look how the lighting has changed. How beautiful. That right there was our conversation on the market in general. So those were the top 12 companies that had the highest insider trading in the market right now. All of it was sold by the CEOs. Some of the biggest that were noted was Michael Dell, obviously, of $1 billion. Most of that stuff was attached to AI, folks. Market sentiment in AI is monstrous. You can't argue that. Now, we went through and we tried to evaluate if there was a bubble in the tech industry led by AI. Well, what we found was the PE ratio of the leading stock, which is NVIDIA, was 82, 83, right? Which is high. It's high. It's certainly not the 1,000 that we saw of Amazon back in 99, right? In the tech market, there's not all these companies that are literally non-revenue producing junk with like the top 10 stocks leading. So is the tech market in a bubble? I would not say that the tech market is a bubble. I mean, we looked at it. It clearly was not. However, is AI at a high level of sentiment that can lead to large declines in price? Yes, I would say this is probably further proof of that, how high market sentiment is. We learned that the corporate buyback programs, which Goldman Sachs stated had 5.5 billion in daily buying volume. That ended on the 14th of June. We know that short interest, which creates short covering, which creates artificial demand in stock markets, is at its lowest level since the financial crisis of 2008. So that can be a hindrance to buying. We have large insider selling. And as you can see, charts are very gappy with the big companies. So there is downside involved, but as you saw, some of those companies look like they're going to go up. Some look like they're going to go down. I think the chart of the day was certainly, was it Palantir? Was that monster chart that was, absolutely horrific? No, it wasn't. Which one was it? Hold on. Which company was that, guys? No. It was Altair, right? ALTR. Oh, God, it was. ALTR. Okay. So Altair, that's definitely the stock of the day, everybody, and to the downside for certain. Not over just the short term, over the intermediate term, and over the long term. That is monstrous. It could get turned around if some big buyers step in, but whoa. All right. So that's the show for today. Remember, mental health is everything, guys. If you're not good up here, you can't be good anywhere else. If you're having a tough day, trust me, I know that because you've never failed until now. How do I know that? Because you're still here. You're still watching the show. Sometimes it's hard to get out of those funks. Fake it till you make it. Throw on a fake smile, and be happy until you really are happy. Get out in the sun, exercise, do something beautiful. Look, every day above ground is a great day. Okay. If you have any questions for me, if you're looking to get involved in my VIP mentorship program, which is primarily one-on-ones, but I do a couple live webinar series throughout the year. We work off of the three pillars of any proper investment and trading plan, which is risk management, cash management, and investment management. What does that mean? You're managing risk properly, you're managing your cash properly, and you're choosing the proper investments. When you have those in sync with your personality specifically, that is when you have the real chances of ultimate success in trading. All right. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoy this. And look, go through and watch all those charts. I'll see you soon. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll see you tomorrow.